Hi everyone, my name is Sin Sin or Yuli, and welcome to this exciting session for the International Queer Buddhist Conference from Rainbodhi. And the session today is going to be about our new resource, which is a guide to LGBTQIA+ inclusion for Buddhists. It's called Welcoming the Rainbow. So Rainbodhi is a spiritual friendship group for LGBTQIA+ Buddhists and an advocate for more inclusion and diversity in the broader Buddhist community. Rainbodhi offers meditation, Dharma discussion, and social events as well in a safe, supportive environment. And Rainbodhi welcomes everyone, regardless of gender, race, sexuality. And we are also a non-sectarian Buddhist group, welcoming people from all faiths and backgrounds. And all of our events are free. Okay, so about the session, Welcoming the Rainbow. I believe the primary goal of this booklet is to promote awareness of diversity for Buddhists in temples, organizations, and retreat centers. So we'll find out more about this booklet from the very people who have been so instrumental in the creation of this fantastic booklet. So today I'm joined by these special guest speakers. We have Bhante Akaliko. Bhante is a founder of Rainbodhi and a resident monastic of Lokanta Vihara, the monastery at the end of the world in Sydney, Australia. We have Venerable Vimalanyani, and Venerable Vimalanyani is a German bhikkhuni who's also an artist who created these gorgeous illustrations in the booklet. We have Letty. Letty is a queer Zen Theravadan Buddhist, a social worker and a researcher. And finally, we have Kyle Neo, and he is a freelance designer and a Dharma practitioner and holds a diploma in Buddhist studies and Buddhist psychology. And this is the bit that I like the best. He says his daily source of vitamin C is compassion. All right, so I guess I'd like to ask Bhante Akaliko, as the founder of Rainbodhi, to talk a little bit more about this booklet. My first impression upon looking at the content of the booklet is that it's very user-friendly and it's very easy to follow, and yet it's so informative. So can you tell us a bit more about this booklet and how it came about, Bhante?
One of the reasons I thought about creating this booklet is that Buddhist organizations, retreat centers, might be a little bit behind the times when it comes to things like diversity, understanding the needs of people with diverse genders or different sexualities. And so I realized that I had some work to do in educating myself and educating other people in my community. And the way I think about this is kind of like barriers. There's barriers that exclude people who are LGBTQIA+ from full participation in our communities. Sometimes those barriers are really hard to see. Sometimes they're administrative, sometimes they're physical, sometimes they're about the language that we use or just attitudes that we have. And so my goal in writing this booklet and making it freely available to Buddhist organizations around the world was to try to educate, inform, and let people understand how they can be more compassionate, how can they offer more inclusion to the LGBTQIA+ Buddhist community. And my hope is that it has real effects, that people who read the booklet will have a resource that they can rely upon to make sure that their centers and themselves are more open, more inclusive, and more aware. So that's the basic reason behind the booklet.
Okay, so Venerable Vimalanyani, I must make a confession here. I had seen your illustrations long before they were all included in the booklet, actually, and I have taken the liberty of sharing some of those beautiful drawings with my friends in the Buddhist circle without asking for your permission. I'm sorry. But they are just such vibrant colors and quirky characters. And to me, they ooze a sense of warmth and playfulness, and yet they convey complex emotions. And I think I read it somewhere, the drawings try to also convey the idea of grappling with important issues such as gender discrimination in religion and so on. So my question for you is, Venerable, how did you approach the illustrations for the booklet, and what inspired you to come up with those illustrations?
Thank you, Sin Sin, for this introduction. And to start with, I just wanted to say how privileged I feel to be part of the project, and how happy I was to be invited to contribute some illustrations, because this is really a topic that is very, very close to my heart. And so how did I approach the illustrations? So this was actually a community effort. I wasn't the only one thinking about it, but we were thinking that LGBTQIA plus issues and also the question of discrimination, that's a very serious topic, a very heavy topic. And it's also a topic that is very, very challenging for many people. So it would be somewhat difficult for many people to just pick up a booklet or a book about that. So we wanted to have a counterbalance to the heavy topic in the illustration. So we wanted drawings that are really fun, that are colorful, that are cute, so that there is no visual barrier to picking up the booklet, so that it's kind of attractive and makes it easy for people to have a look at the content also. And one other thing that was very important is that we really wanted to represent diversity in the booklet. So one thing obviously is gender diversity. And I think in that way, my drawings are actually quite suitable in some ways, because I've always drawn characters that don't have a gender. My characters are always genderless. And so in that sense, it was kind of very easy to include them in the booklet. I didn't have to adapt much. And other forms of diversity that were very important to us is to include was like different skin tones, a wide age range of the characters, different body shapes. And also we wanted to include both monastic and lay people in the booklet, because discrimination isn't something that we can only find in monastic circles or only in lay groups. That is really something that we can easily encounter in all forms of Buddhism. So I've created 9 unique characters for the booklet. And I think the beautiful thing about that was also that there is really an evolution that we see in the booklet. So in the beginnings, there are lots of barriers. The characters undergo very unpleasant situations. And one other thing that I also wanted to show is that they have the emotions that they go through. There's a lot of hurt and a lot of suffering that they feel as a result of what they encounter in Buddhist spheres or Buddhist circles. But then people learn, and there is a willingness to engage with the topic. And in the end, they all come together and they form an inclusive group. So I felt like that was also very beautiful to see. And yeah, I just wanted to say again that I'm really very passionate about this topic. And discrimination based on gender, based on sex, based on sexual orientation is something that is a huge problem in society and also in Buddhism. And I think if we want to make Buddhism flourish in the future, then this is really something that we should address. And I'm very passionate about it, and I'm really happy that I had the chance to make a small contribution to this booklet. So hopefully we can continue the dialogue in that regard. So thank you so much for including me.
Thank you, Aya. That's been really inspiring to hear all this from both Bante Akaliko and Aya Vimalanyani. Next, Letty, you've been involved with social justice and human rights for quite some time. Yeah. My question for you is, why do you think we need this resource, and what will it mean for LGBTQIA plus Buddhists?
Thank you so much, Sin, and absolutely, this the whole concept behind this resource really deeply resonates with me. And I just want to start by thanking Bante Akaliko and Aya Vimalanyani so much for and also the whole Rainbodhi community and the contributors, because this is such a beautiful, beautiful resource. So to come to your question, why is this important? In the resource, in the opening pages of Welcoming the Rainbow, there's a description of Dr. Stephen Carey's research, which showed that 61% of queer, trans and intersex people who participated in the study reported that they felt silenced or ignored in Buddhist centres. And over half of the participants said that at times they felt really reluctant to disclose their sexuality or their gender identities. And Dr. Carey also found in this piece of research that many LGBTIQA plus Buddhists, on top of experiences of homophobia and transphobia, had also experienced racism and sexism, again, in Buddhist spaces. And unfortunately, these findings really speak to why it is that so many queer, trans and intersex people do feel actively excluded from Buddhist spaces and also other religious and spiritual traditions. So I really believe, and I'm really, really hopeful that Welcoming the Rainbow is going to make a big difference in creating safer spaces for queer, trans and intersex Buddhists. So the resource has some really, really fantastic information for straight and cisgender people to be better allies for LGBTIQA plus people. And it also has some fantastic information about how Buddhist organisations can celebrate diversity, honour diversity, eliminate barriers and harmful speech against LGBTQIA plus people. So what will it mean for us as Buddhists? And there's a gorgeous quote by Bhante Kaliko in the resource, and I'll just share it with you. So Bhante says, everyone, regardless of gender or sexuality, deserves to live their life free from the fear of rejection and be proud of who they are. And I so agree with that statement. And I think that really sums up what this resource brings and does for us. This resource says to LGBTQA plus people that all parts of you are welcome, that you belong and that you are loved. And that's a message that we can't hear enough. I really believe that it's only when you feel safe and respected and welcomed that you can truly let go in meditation practice. And, you know, if you think about, if you have a part of yourself that has to remain vigilant and is wondering, am I safe here? Am I welcome here? Then you're not really able to meditate very deeply. It's very hard to take in the teachings. And so I think this is such a beautiful guide that I think will help create the changes that we need to create that safety. And I just want to, thank everybody involved. I love Welcoming the Rainbow so much. The Dharma really radiates off the page, radiates through Ivan Vimalanyani's gorgeous drawings and Bhante Kaliko's beautiful writing. And it's such a phenomenal celebration of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, queer and asexual Buddhists. I just love it. So thank you. It's such a gift.
Thank you very much, Letty. That was so inspiring, especially that last message that you shared with us about the importance of inclusivity, you know, and how our meditation will not be full without having that quality. So thank you for sharing that. I totally agree with you. Kyle, yes. What is something from the booklet that you would like Buddhists to hear and understand, in your opinion?
Well, we all know people from LGBTQIA plus community, but we don't talk about it that much, especially in the Buddhist circle, you know. And first, I would like to encourage Buddhists around the world to be just more open-minded to hear and understand that the booklet is not trying to point out the differences, but we are trying to bring people from different communities together. And in this case, understanding how individuals and organizations can be more welcoming and inclusive towards the LGBTQIA plus Buddhists. And in another way, it will help us truly practice loving kindness and compassion towards everyone in our community, like, what Letty has quoted from Bhante Apaliko. So it might not be obvious, but the LGBTQIA plus community do face discrimination. So with that understanding, I hope less rejection and oppression can be reduced by society and religious settings that the LGBTQIA people have been facing. And identities are complex and intersectional. So this booklet will help people to identify the different groups within the LGBTQIA plus community and their needs as well. We all can play a part and lend a voice for the LGBTQIA plus community. So we all can play a part to make them feel more acceptable and inclusive, not just on the religious setting, but how we practice as a Buddhist as well. So to build that common understanding is to love and be compassionate, so because we all are the same, there is no difference. Yeah, and I truly appreciate this book because as a gay person, it will create a lot of conducive environment for us to be in a space where we can learn Dharma, and that is, and Buddha always say that, you can't learn Dharma in a setting that is, if you're too hungry or if you need to go to the toilet. So with this booklet, it does help to bring the setting in for people like me, to understand Dharma with no fear at all. Yeah. So thank you, Bhante Apaliko and Venerable Bima, sorry, I can't really pronounce name, for the illustrations. So thank you so much and really happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. That's really healing. Thank you so much, Bhante Apaliko, Venerable Vimalanyani, Letty, and Kyle, for your great contributions today. I personally would like to thank you all for sharing such insightful messages that I believe are so important. So important not only for the wider Buddhist community, but I think this is also very important for us, for LGBTQIA plus Buddhists, because I think there are quite a lot of issues that are overlooked and taken for granted. So if we could raise that awareness within ourselves first, then we can also deal with the wider community better, and hopefully there's going to be this mutual understanding which will help to create a better world for everybody. So thank you again, everyone. The booklet will be printed and distributed around the world, and it's available to download now on the Rainbodhi website, www.rainbodhi.org. It's again, www.rainbodhi.org. Once again, thank you all and see you next time.